Hello, and welcome back to Too Many Books. My name is Sean, and today we have a Broken Binding unboxing. This, my friends, is the fantasy subscription, the final title in the Riftwar Saga, that original trilogy by Raymond E Feist. This is A Darkness at Sethanon, the sequel to Magician and Silverthorn, bringing the Riftwar to a head, where Master Magician Pug and Tomas have to hopefully change the fate of Midkemia. First off, we have a nice little bookmark here. We're about a third of the way through through August, not July. So it's a little late, but that's just the nature of things sometimes, especially when it's shipping from the UK. Still, few things of worth are ever simple or easy. Nice little bookmark there. The Riftwar Saga. And, I do notice that I wonder if the fantasy subscription is going to stick with this kind of gold wrapping paper. The other books that I bought recently from them, like Ascendant, have kind of foregone the gold wrapping paper in favor of like a brown paper with Broken Binding's name and logo everywhere around it. But things are a little different for the fantasy ones if they stuck with the gold. But I guess we'll see with the next title, the August title. So there we have Jeff Brown's exquisite artwork. Very colorful dust jacket artwork. It's perfectly kind of in line with Magician and Silverthorn. I'm drawing a blank on what Magician looked like. I know it was kind of similar. Silverthorn had, a freaking tower and characters in the foreground. Very much stylistically all in line. And this should have, I believe it's the same artists. Yes, it is. Okay, so it's going to have Alan Morris doing interior artwork, Christopher Cant and Mansik Yang doing the end papers. But look at the boards on that. Good versus evil, the fate of Midkemia being in the balance. Exquisite. So Christopher Cant's artwork right there for the first end papers. This is, of course, signed. This is a Tier 1, signed by Raymond E Feist. My number is 805 out of 1,500 copies. So there's 1,500 Tier 1 copies. I think like 3,000 Tier 2 copies, which are unsigned, but get the same artistic quality and the same exclusive artwork. Mansik Yang's on the end papers there. One thing you will notice with both this title and, of course, Silverthorn as well, is that they're both significantly shorter. I think both of them combined are still shorter than Magician by itself. You have the map of Midkemia, a map of Kelowon, the Riftwar Saga. Oh, you have a little story so far. Nice. The Riftwar Saga is the world of Midkemia, a world that is based upon the world of Dungeons & Dragons. That's actually where this series got its start. Raymond E Feist and some of his friends in school were doing their own Dungeons & Dragons campaign. And he said, you know what, I've kind of built my own world here. I'm going to expand upon the world. And thus, the Riftwar Saga was born. But there are literal rifts opening up, interdimensional rifts opening up between Midkemia and Kelowon, between this world and the next world, all alternative universes, different fighting forces barging through those rifts, wanting to take over the lands for themselves beyond the rifts. And it's classic fantasy, classic high fantasy. That's what you get in here. And this brings the original trilogy to a close. Now, admittedly, the Broken Binding ones aren't going to be as fancy. I see there's definitely one more piece coming up, but I don't want to know if there's going to be another one sneaking through. Anyways, this is not. It's kind of a fancy trade edition, which is kind of what you get with the Broken Binding outside of their TBB press. I mean, yeah, it's a glued spine. It's just, kind of trade edition paper on the inside. Nothing overly fancy, but it does have that exclusive artwork. It's with the brim, filled to the brim with this exclusive artwork. So if you want a fancier edition, it's now currently sold out through Grim Press, but Grim Oak Press did their own fancier edition a couple years back, which had a bonded leather cover, full color interior. I believe they were full color interiors. Don Maith. Maybe it was just black and white. They might have still been doing black and white at that point. But it's bonded leather, sewn spine. If you wanted to see that edition for yourself, I did do an unboxing several years back, a link in the description below, to that Grim Oak Press edition, which if you want the fancy edition, that's probably the one to own. But if you're fine with a fancy trade edition, this would be the next best one to own. Like I said, it's not as fancy as the Grim Oak edition, but it's definitely fancier than any trade edition. Or if you're just looking for, just to read the story as it is, I mean, you can find copies of this book wherever books are sold. So you don't have to join the wait list of Broken Binding for that. There is a huge wait list for Tier 2 of Broken Binding, and then a further wait list for Tier 1. But if you want to live vicariously through me and continue to watch these unboxings month after month, be sure to subscribe to the channel here, because I am not planning on leaving the subscription anytime soon. If only for the fact that I know I will never be able to get back on. So every single month, I will do a fantasy unboxing. Every 2 months, I do the sci-fi unboxing. And damn it, the FOMO got me, and I did hop on to their new sci-fi and fantasy subscription just because it's every 2 months. I'm curious to see. And The Witcher prequel is the first title for that, so they really dragged me in on that one. I mean, that one's I'm a little iffy on, but I'm definitely on the long run for the sci-fi and the fantasy in particular. But I have plenty of unboxings like these on the channel. Be sure to subscribe. I do at least one book review a week with other Broken Binding unboxings, Grim Oak Press unboxings, Suntup, and what have you in between here and there. Check out the Broken Binding. Link in the description below. You can pick up other exclusive books with artwork very similar to this one through their website. They do ship from the UK, so prices for the shipping hurt a little bit, but you still get some very fancy trade editions for those prices. But anyways, thank you again for watching. Check out the Broken Binding, and we'll see you around next time.